How does it feel, Peter, to score more goals in your career than Andy Townsend, mate?
It's brilliant. It sits really, really well with me. Absolutely.
How did you get 10, Pete? What on earth was you doing up there getting 10 goals?
Well,
my goodness.
Peter, I heard you missed a couple as well.
Andy, when I first started out, I was a penalty taker. So and so I've scored most of them on penalties, and my plan was just to hit them as hard as I could down the middle.
Brilliant.
And that lasted until I missed, and I missed badly. And then I was taking off penalties. It could have been a lot more. It should have been a lot more.
Well, listen, on the topic of goals, you seem very, very qualified to talk about them, and that's fine by me. Rasmus Højlund, Peter, I want to ask you about him. I mean, I've seen United a good few times this season, mate. And I've got to say, I really like his work ethic. I really like his attitude, the way he puts himself about. I thought his level of finishing before, it was just a little bit, I wouldn't say he was snatching at things, but he just probably had to have a little bit more composure. But boy, now I think we're seeing, if not the best of him, he's certainly looking as if he's the real deal. We forget he's still only 21, Peter.
Yeah, I think that's really important that you say that. We forget he's active coming into Manchester United at the age of 20. And of course, him being from Denmark, we kind of sort of look at him in the same lines of Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
And it's kind of when Haaland was this age, he was at Salzburg. So Haaland's had a really sort of good slow introduction into his career. He's gone Salzburg, then he went Dortmund, and then he went big to Man City. Whereas Hojlund is only like 2.5 years ago, he was in the Copenhagen squad, and they signed another striker, and they then told him to go back to the under-19s. And Sturm Graz came in for him and said, we're going to give you first-team football. And he took it. 7 months there, 9 months at Atalanta later, and now he's at Manchester United. So it's gone really, really quick for him.
Yeah.
But at no point have I been in any doubt that this lad is the real deal.
Yeah.
He's got everything in his locker. And I was listening, Andy, I was listening to your co-commentary yesterday, and you were saying stuff along those lines as well. Poacher's goals, stuff like that. His movement, and I've seen this for a year now. I've seen this when he broke into the Danish team. I've just seen this guy. And when you see something which is very, very special, doesn't come along very often. That's what I've seen in him.
Brilliant. What about the goalkeeper, Peter? I thought yesterday one of his more convincing games with his hands. I know that sounds crazy for a goalie, but I've never been that since I've seen Andre Onana. I've not been convinced about his shot stopping abilities, but yesterday he made some great saves, and I thought the work with his gloves was really clean.
Yeah, I thought yesterday was that was his best game in a Manchester United shirt for sure. We all know that he can play, and he's been brought in to start build-up play from the back. I think he's done that really well. But yesterday, I think at quite a few times in that game that he kept United in it. I thought Aston Villa were excellent. They created a lot of chances. I thought United was a little bit soft at the back, gave too many opportunities away. But then he stepped up, and it was good to see that. It's great to see that he's growing with confidence. I think that has been a pretty big thing for him since that very first Champions League game in Munich when he made that mistake on that easy shot. I think from that moment on, he's been toiling with confidence. But it's building. He's come back. He's played every game bar the Newport game for Man United, and that's good manager work. He's backed his player, and he's coming better. I'm absolutely happy to see that performance yesterday.
Peter, the result yesterday was absolutely massive, because had it gone the other way, I felt certainly fourth place would have been out of United's reach. But it certainly gives them a little bit of opportunity, momentum. Obviously, it draws Villa closer, and indeed Spurs. Can they make top four?
I was in Singapore last week for the Premier League, and that was only last week. We've played 2 games, and I was doing quite a lot of interviews out there, and I said, no, I don't think we've got no chance. I mean, we're too far behind, and we have to win every game. And at the same time, the other teams have got to drop points, and it's a lot of points to drop, But now I'm looking at the table and I'm thinking, okay, that gap, with 14 games to go, it's not a massive gap, And if you look at how Spurs won their game on Saturday, it was an injury time win, which is, it's great for that team that they can produce those kind of wins. But it wasn't a convincing win that we've seen them, produce earlier in the season. Aston Villa yesterday, which is, those two teams, I see them as a competition, struggling a little bit with converting the many chances they do produce into goals.
Very true. Peter, Luton away next, then Fulham at home, Forest away. So games again now. With the run that United are on and the way that they're playing. Every United fan would be expecting maximum points, I would think, out of the next three.
I agree with that, Andy, but this is how it's been going for quite a while, many years now. What we produce, we Wolverhampton result, played really well, then something happens in the game, but then we come back in the game and finish it and wins. We win a little bit ugly. Yesterday, a little bit of an ugly win as well in terms of how we achieved those 3 points. There was a really good spell in the game, and then, of course, the initiative was given to Aston Villa, who played really, really well. And then, of course, the change came in a substitution. And then it builds a little bit of insecurity with me. Yes, we win that game. And I look at those teams, the next 3 games, and though, I'd say, yeah, of course, it's 9 points. Manchester United, they should get 9 points out of that. But it's not the way it's been going for many, many years. So I think it really is a big, big test coming up for Erik ten Hag and his team now. How are you going to approach these games? How are you going to play these games? Can you go to Luton? Luton are playing really, really well at the moment. They're scoring a lot of goals. They've, what Robert Edwards has done there, it's an unbelievable piece of managerial work. It's a difficult place to go. I've only ever played there once, and I didn't win. So I have this, I always think about results that you've achieved in certain places.
Well,
and
I've got to say, I'm with you totally. You touched on, you're leading me into my next question perfectly, Peter. You're talking about home grounds and venues, and Luton. I've been to Luton a couple of times, fantastic throwback. But I want to ask you about Old Trafford, because there's rumours last week that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is planning on potentially a new stadium or an upgrade on the current Old Trafford. I think the general consensus is a lot of United fans and indeed staff think the stadium perhaps needs a bit of TLC, a bit of 10 11 care. Would you rather see the stadium a new stadium, or would you rather see a little bit there's far too much history? Are you a traditionalist?
This is the debate that we've had for quite a while. There's no doubt that something needs to be done. Old Trafford is worn out and needs a lot of work. Now, in the beginning, I'm thinking, well, we've got all this space around the stadium. Why not just build a completely new stadium, state of the art, the best stadium in the world, at the same time as not losing any money at all? We can still have, the 74, 75,000 at our home games, and we still have a stadium to play our games in. But then you're there and you look around, you do work from pitch side, and you look at this stadium. For me, it's just a magnificent stadium. I don't want to lose it. If I'm honest, I don't want to lose it. I want that where it is now, that stadium to be upgraded. And I think, with modern technology, the question mark has always been that railway that's behind the main stand, the south stand. It's always been, a stumbling block in terms of redeveloping that stand. But now there's technology that you can do it. So I'm all for we renovate the stadium, and then we're going to have, a couple of years with smaller attendance. But for the future, I think, Old Trafford carries so much history, and we are a football club that brings history into a lot of what we say, a lot of what we believe in. So I'm now on the side of redeveloping the stadium.
Yeah. Can you get Sir Jim to build a little way out of the stadium and all, Pete, for after the games? Because it takes about 4 hours to get out of Old Trafford, doesn't it? So can he build us a bridge and a flyover and take us straight onto the motorway?
And can you imagine if they bring the attendance up to 90,000?
Oh, don't go there.
It's 74, 75 now. Yeah. Can you imagine how much more time it's going to take?
Oh, man.
It takes me days to get on that M6 back up to Glasgow, man. I need to have a shave the last time I was at Old Trafford by the time I got home, mate. I tell you.
Peter, can I just ask you quickly about the Euros? What do you make of Denmark's group? Obviously, they're in with England and Slovenia and Serbia. Confident?
Yeah, It's a good group for us. Absolutely. So we qualify for the Euros against Slovenia. So we know that team. We won and got good results against them. Serbia, we've just played them in a friendly within the last 12 months, and we were a better team than they were. So there's a confidence of those two games, and of course, it's revenge time, isn't it? For Denmark against England, because we're still not happy about that penalty in the semi-final. We're still not happy about that.
Yeah,
that was never a penalty.
Listen,
and
Peter, as a Scotsman, I back you up totally. Carry on, mate.
I love it.
Listen,
I love it.
Listen, Peter. Will I see you tomorrow night? The game tomorrow night.
Where are you gonna go? I'm gonna be in Copenhagen.
Yes, I'm at the game. I'm looking forward.
No.
I'm looking forward. I'll see you tomorrow night. Hopefully, at some point, I'll get a chance to say hello. I'm catching up with Brian Laudrup as well, mate. So I'm looking forward to my trip.
No, enjoy it. Are you going to spend some time in Copenhagen, or is it just straight in and out?
No, well, I've got a bit of time on Wednesday as well before I head back. So hopefully we'll catch up and I'll maybe grab a wee soft drink after the game. That'd be great.
Yeah. But bring an umbrella and a big coat because it's raining and it's cold.
Oh, wow.
It's miserable.
Peter, I'm Scottish. I refuse to travel anywhere.
He'll have a t-shirt and shorts on, Pete, by the sounds of it.
Peter, great to talk. Thanks very much for your time, mate. Have a brilliant week.
Guys.
Take care.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.